Happy Thursday, everyone. Today's topic, I'm going to be talking about how to overcome a bad breakup. I am going to break it down to you four things you should get over a breakup. So let's get right into it, you guys, and welcome back to That's It. Going through a breakup is never easy. It's the worst difficult thing that any person can go through, a man or a woman, and it's never easy. But I want to talk to you about the four things that I want to give you advice on how to get over a breakup and what to do in that type of situation. The first thing, acknowledge your feelings. Your feelings are validated. It's important. It's important to do not suppress your emotions. It's normal to feel sad, angry, even confused about the whole breakup. After the breakup, allow yourself to experience these feelings. Allow yourself to experience them without any judgment and talk about it. It's super important to talk about it and not ball it up inside and not express how you feel. Like if you need to talk about it, share your feelings with someone that you trust. Your friends, your family, or even a therapist. And it's good to talk about to help you process, their emotions, and you can and give they can give you a perspective in regards to the breakup. Also, journal, journaling. It's super important. Like if you are the type to write and you like to write things down, that's super important too, to write your feelings and um, what you're going through and how the breakup occur and everything. So whatever you feel like that can help you, if therapy is not your thing, or you just don't want to share your emotion or your feelings with your friends because you're the type of person you don't like to open up, I suggest to journal. I do it. I used to do that when I was going through the hardest breakup in my life, and I wrote things down. And there's times I didn't want to talk about it with my friends, even though I love my friends and I know that they wanted to be there for me and support me. And sometimes you just don't feel like talking. You know what I mean? Especially when the breakup is fresh, you just don't want to talk right away. All you want to do is just cry and somber and just like ask yourself why this happened, how can this happen, and so forth. So it's good to write it down and to have clarity, to gain some type of clarity about this. Number two, distance. It's super important, you guys, to create distance and space. When you go through a breakup, you just don't want to see the person, meaning remove any reminders that you have of him and her, meaning delete photos. And then you're going to say, delete photos? Yes, but before I go even further, now I know that's hard to do and it's easy said and done to delete photos because I was one of them. When you have photos of someone that you love and care about and thought that you was going to spend the rest of your life with, you don't want to delete the photos because you have it in the back of your mind that there's going to be hope. You're going to may savage the relationship, that you don't want to delete it because once it's delete unless you link it up to your iCloud and then it's saved. And that it all depends on how you feel and what you're going through. I'm going to be honest with you. It took me a good while before I deleted the photos. I held on to it thinking that maybe the relationship can be saved. Maybe the person will change their mind to work on the relationship. And it didn't happen. And then I just deleted everything. I deleted everything. So it's super important to delete the photos because you just don't want to have any reminders or reminisce. But again, like I said, it's easier said than done. Just put it somewhere. You know what I mean? Have it hidden. If you're not ready to delete the photos yet, which I totally understand, put them in a safe hiding place that you don't have to look at it. And, it doesn't have to be a reminder of you of the relationship that you had. Also, remove any unfollow your ex, okay? Unfollow him for social media. Make sure that you don't even know what he or she is doing because that's also can be an distraction too. Because once you break up with someone, you want to know what they're doing, what they're posting. That's a no-no. You don't want to do that. Why do that to yourself? Why torture yourself and want to know what your ex is doing? It's just to me is just bizarre and weird. And again, I'm not passing judgment here, but why do that? Why subject yourself to check on what your ex is doing and what he's up to? And on top of that, they probably block you too. Like if it was a bad breakup, like bad breakup, they probably unfollow you. So my suggestion is unfollow your ex because again, you don't want to torture yourself and go through all that stuff. Remove any physical reminder of your relationship. Like, for example, if you have birthday cards, if you have like little knickknacks. Now, I'm not saying to, it all depends. Some people, they just take everything that they got from their ex and they burn it. They burn it to the crisp, okay? They burn it, they trash it. They just don't want any reminder of their ex. They're finished, done, kapoots, okay? They get rid of it. Some people, it all depends on the person because everybody's different. Everyone um, deals with breakups differently. We're all not the same, okay? Now, what I mean by removing everything, take everything, put it in a shoebox, put it in a box, and just hide it somewhere, okay? Like, so you don't have to look at it each and every day that you come home from work, that it's just right there in front of your face, and then you're looking at it and you start to somber and cry and they get more frustrated. So my suggestion is remove any personal um, reminders of the relationship and just put it somewhere in a hidden in a closet, somewhere that you can get access to. Okay, that's number two. Number three, prioritize your self care. What do you mean by that? Your physical health, like eating well, exercising, getting enough sleep. Because, when you go through a bad breakup, you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you're basically depressed and just laying in bed, crying and moping and just binging on Netflix or Prime. I've been there, okay? No judgment. I have been there. But you just want to, get yourself up and just have that mood, have that energy level to do something. And I know that's easier said than done, but you have to find hobbies and activities to do, meaning engaging activities that you enjoy, whether it's painting, hiking, spending time with your friends, yoga. You have to keep busy. You have to keep moving. And I know that is hard to do. Just like we have jobs, right? You're just not going to stay in bed throughout the week and not go to work because you went through a bad breakup. Because if that's the case, your boss is not going to be sympathetic and caring. They're just going to write you up, 3 strikes you out, and they're going to fire you. Okay? They really don't give a crap about your relationship, what you're going through. All they want you to do is just punch in, come to work, and do your job. They don't care about your situation. So my thing is, and whether it's in the weekend too, during the week and the weekend, find something to do. Keep yourself busy. Keep yourself so busy that you're not even thinking about your ex. And I have to say that I did that and it worked. I kept busy. I stayed in the office late. I did not want it to go home because I can tell you guys, going home, that's for me, and I can't speak for everyone else. Going home was just the most saddest thing because it's just a reminder of your relationship that you have with your ex, whether you live with your ex or whether you didn't, but still, just going home and laying your head on a pillow and just start weeping and crying and just like you just can't stop crying and then you just fall asleep. And that has happened to me. And that's what I hated the most. Once I'm done with my work, I'm done with activities with my friends. There's you can hang out with your friends and do things for so long, then everything closes up. You know what I mean? And people want to go home and be with their families and rest as well. And I try to avoid that. I try to avoid it. I try not to go home, but eventually I had to go home, and that was the hardest thing to do. And I know that's going to be for you guys too. If you're going through a bad breakup, that's hard. But then you do what you have to do. You cry, you know, and then the next morning you got to pick yourself up and start all over. And that's the hardest part. Is starting all over and doing all over again. It's a routine, just like waking up, brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking a shower, heading to work is a routine, and it's the same thing like this. It's a routine, and find friends that will support you and that will offer you, things that can help you get through the breakup. And like I said, it's not easy. It's very difficult, and it's really hard. It's really hard. But like I said, you got to keep busy. You got to be motivated and continue to do stuff. And I promise you, you may not see it right now. It will get better. I promise you, it will get better. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I promise you. It doesn't seem like that now. It seems like your life just shattered. It's the end of the world. That you have to start all over. How can this happen? But I promise you, because I have been there, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm never going to meet anyone. I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. Never get married. Never start a family. And this is it for me. And that's what I was thinking. This was it because I had to start all over. I can tell you briefly of my story. I met a guy, and I thought that he was the one, and to the point that I left New York, moved to Pompano, Florida, to live with him, and I wasn't married. I was living in sin, even though a lot of people warned me about this guy. But again, at that time, I wanted to do what I wanted to do because I was in a rush to get married and start a family because all my other friends were married and had kids, and I felt like I was the only one left. And it's no excuse. I should have just waited and been patient. But patience sometimes is just not my forte when it comes to certain things. When it comes to other things, I'm very patient about. But for that situation at that time, I was just not patient. I just wanted to be in a serious committed relationship and start a family and get married. The only problem was when I was in a relationship with this person, he wanted to get married. However, he didn't want to have children. And I was like, I didn't want to sacrifice one or the other. I did not want it to get married and then just be or him and I and a dog. I didn't want that. And I told him up front too, because you're gonna ask him, well, didn't you guys have the discussion in the beginning? I did. I had a discussion with him. I was very blunt, transparent, and honest with this guy that I want children and I want to get married. And then he said that, he said he was honest too. He said he wants to get married, but he was not sure. But he said verbatim, it depends on the person and depends how serious the relationship was. I'm like, okay. And at that time, we were just dating and we started to get to know each other. And I said, well, once you get a serious relationship with someone, would you consider? And he said, I would consider that. I'm like, okay. So he did not really close the door having children. Then when it got, serious to the point that we were like, seeing each other, visiting back and forth, and then we decided that, I should, leave New York, move to Pompano Beach, Florida, live with him, start a new job, and it was serious. And then we had that second or third discussion, and then I asked him like, do you see marriage with me? Yes. Do you see children? And then he just went a 180, like, no, I don't see it. I really don't want to have children, Cheryl. And then when he said that, that really shook me. It really shook me to the core because I'm like, dude, I told you that I want to have kids. And I thought that, eventually, that he would think that I'm the one that he will settle down and get married with. And he said, I do want to marry you. I see that in the future with you and I. However, I don't want to have children. And I told him, well, I can't sacrifice one or the other because then I'm going to be miserable. Then I'm going to be resentful. And it's just not going to work. So, and I found out other things as well throughout the relationship, which I don't want to go into, excuse me. But then that was like the breaking turning point for me. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sacrifice my happiness because this particular person was not very honest with me from the get-go and tell me that he didn't want kids from the first place. Because if he would have been very honest from the get-go, I wouldn't even date him. But my point is that it shook me to the core that I had to relocate, pack up everything, and move back to New York. Basically, I was starting all over. I gave up my apartment. I moved up all my furniture, put it in storage, everything. Like this was like, I thought this was the one. I thought this was the one that I was going to get married and spend the rest of my life with. And I was wrong. I was so devastated. Not to the fact that I moved back to New York because I had my best friend there and I had a good support system as well. But the fact is that I had to start all over. I had to rent a room. I no longer had my apartment. I took a few things that I needed. I shipped my car, pardon me. And it was just I was just so sad and depressed. I did not want to do anything. I thought that my life was over. I thought that, things are not going to be looking out for me, meaning that I was never going to find anyone and settle. And this was my life. That's what I said to myself. This was my life. And I was in bed crying, 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 you guys, that I just put myself to sleep. And then I didn't even want her to wake up. I did not want her to wake up and go to work. But thank God for my good friends, and they told me, you know what, Cheryl, you got to get up. You got to get up. You got to move. You got to keep yourself busy, because if you don't keep yourself busy, you're going to go insane and crazy in that room. Because I was renting a room at that time, and I didn't really care. I just wanted to stay in bed and watch TV and just cry and sleep. Sorry for my dog barking. So, but my best friend, she said, "Come on, you gotta move. You gotta keep yourself busy. You gotta do things, sure. You gotta keep your mind occupied." And that's what I'm telling you guys. You gotta keep your mind occupied. You gotta keep yourself busy and moving. And I know it is hard, but you can do it. You can do it, because if I can do it, you can do it too. It's just the only sucky part is going home and going to bed. That's when it really hits me the most, because I'm alone. You know what I mean? And then and then my best friend told me that you're not alone, Cheryl. You have God with you. You have me if you want, if you need to speak to me. Call me. You can call me anytime, which I have, which I did. You know what I mean? And I'm saying that to you too. If you need someone to talk to that you can't sleep, pick up the phone and call your friend. Call them. You know what I mean? That's what your friends are here for, to give you that support, to give you that love, to be understanding and patient with you. Because breakup is never easy. Now, the fourth thing that I want to talk about is focus on your future, you know, meaning acceptance. Accept that the relationship is over, kaput, done, finished, over. Once you accept that, and you really accept the breakup, then you can move forward with your life. You can move forward for a positive future. Okay, and I know that's not easy, you guys, but I promise you, once you realize and accept that the relationship is over and there's no point of return, that meaning that that person is not willing to change and give you what you want and what you need, why force the person? You know what I mean? Why bend backwards to please that person when that person's not going to even reciprocate it back? It makes no sense. You're working too hard to make the relationship work when it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Relationships should be easy and smooth. Not saying there's no issue, not issues, but like there's no what's the word? No conflict. You know what I mean? Obviously, every relationship is not perfect, but what I'm saying is it shouldn't be hard to be on the same page what you want and what you're looking for. You know what I mean? And that's the point that I'm getting at. It shouldn't be that hard. It should be easy, that if you both on the same page, you both want the same things, it should be easy. And then when the time is right, the guy will propose to you because he sees you as your wife. He sees you the mother of your children, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So that's what you have to do. You have to focus and realize it's not going to work. It's over, and build positive future for yourself. Now, personal growth. Any bad breakup, you learn from it. It's a valuable lesson, because any new relationship that you bring, you don't want to bring that old baggage to a new relationship. You know what I mean? You learn from it, you grow from it, you try not to make the same mistake that you made in your past relationship, and then you move forward to a new, fresher relationship. And you let the person know up front who you're dating that this is what you want, this is what you're looking for. And if they're wishy-washy and give you all the runaround, run for the freaking hills, okay? That person is not for you. Why waste your time? Why waste your time? Life is so short and precious. Why waste your time for that? You know what I mean? If they're not giving you what you want and you feeling, nah, this person's not for me, next. Yes, it may take longer. You just don't want to rush, okay? Trust me. You do not want to rush and settle and be with someone that's not going to give you what you want and just give you like the bare minimum and give you half-ass. You don't want half-ass. You want full, full transparency, full of everything that a man or a woman can give you. And if they can't give it to you, then you're wasting your time with them. I promise you that. So that's super important. Sorry about my dog. It's super important to reflect and grow on your past relationship. So then when it comes to your new relationship, that you know what you want. You know what not to deal with and what not to settle, because no one should settle for less. Okay, you know your self-worth, you know what you're looking for, and that's the most important thing. Okay, last, hope for the future. Okay, um, hold on for a second. You okay, Apollo? He's my sidekick sometimes. Sidekick. Okay, he's trying to protect me because someone's at the door. But anyway, hope for the future. The future is bright. You may not see it that way because you're going through it, and we all have gone through it and thinking that you're never going to meet someone. But believe me, that's what I said too, that I'm never going to meet anyone. And sure enough, when I least expected, I went to a birthday party, and that's when I met my husband. I was not looking because I was, you know what I mean? I told myself and I told God, I just want to be single, and then I will wait until you put someone in my life. I am not going to search or go extra hard to find someone because I want to get married and have a family because everyone else is doing it. What is meant to be, it will be. It will be your will. Your will be done for my life. And that's what I did. I let it go, and I gave it to God. I just release and let it to God. I surrender. I surrender that to Him. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I went through the process of the breakup, the emotions, the feelings, and everything, I released it. And I told God, it's in your hands. And sure enough, one of my good friends invited me to a birthday party. And I'm like, when it comes to birthday parties, hey, I'm down. Free food? Why the heck not? I'm down for it. And next thing you know, I went, had a good time, and that's where I met my husband when I least expected it. Okay? Least expected it. And God always had a plan for me, just like He has a plan for you, whether you are a believer or not. He always has a plan for you. So that's what I'm saying. The future is bright, even though you don't see it, but you will find your happiness again. I guarantee you that. You will find your happiness again. You're not going to see it right now because you're going through it and it's hard and it's tough, and I definitely understand and I can definitely relate, but it will get better. You will be okay. I promise you that. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you do like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and share it with everyone else about this. And like going through a breakup, a bad breakup actually, it's never easy. It's what you do with it and how you deal with it with the situation will help you overcome this. And also one more thing before I let you go, don't do the rebound. It never works. Okay? Go through the emotions, go through the process, because when you rebound from another guy from a bad breakup, especially someone that you love, you're not dealing with it. What you're doing, you're hiding your feelings, you're hiding your emotions, you're not dealing with it and processing the breakup that you dealt with. You know what I mean? And by you hooking up or dealing with, dating another guy, you're not going to make that relationship better with your new one. You're not, because you're not working within yourself. You know what I mean? It's super important to work for, not work for yourself, but take care of yourself and work of your mindset. You know what I mean? By you hooking up and jumping another relationship, because there's times a lot of people don't like being alone. They have to be with someone. You know what I mean? To have that comfort. But that's not the way, in my opinion. It's not the way. It's just going to make the situation worse. And then every bad relationship that you have in the past, you're not dealing with it and you're running away. And running away is not the answer. You have to, deal with it, face forward, and work on yourself, work on things that you want to change in your next new relationship, and just be by yourself for a little bit. That's what I did. I was by myself. I worked on myself. I worked on things that I need to do, because I am no good if I'm with another person if I didn't take care of myself, if I didn't work on myself. Be a good how can I be a good person, meaning be in a good relationship, if I haven't worked on myself and work on my issues and stuff that I need to work on and grow? You know what I mean? You're not growing when you continue going on the next relationship, on the next relationship. You have to take care of yourself and you have to grow in order to do that. And that's why you need to take time for yourself to figure all this stuff out. What went wrong in your past relationship, what to change, what not to bring in your new relationship, what you want for the near future, that you will find the man of your dreams that will give you everything you want. And then you're going to look back and say, oh my gosh, I dodged a bullet. Hot damn, I dodged a bullet. That's it. That's what I did. That's what I said, actually. I look back, I'm like, what the F was I thinking? I feel like I was probably like on some juju stuff or possessed. I didn't know what I was thinking. And I said to God, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Because I dodged a bullet. Can you imagine me marrying this guy and he would have just wasted my youth, my years, and everything? Then I would have had to start all over. And thank God. So I'm looking back now, I'm glad that I went through the breakup. I'm glad that I went through the heartache and the pain and the crying and being loneliness because if I didn't go through that, I would have never met my husband. And my husband is 10 times better, 10 times man than that my last ex. Okay? And I'm so grateful and thankful for that I waited, I worked on myself, and God put my husband in my life. And I am incredibly blessed and grateful and thankful for that. And what I'm saying to you guys, ladies and men, it will happen to you. You just have to believe and trust, whether you're a believer or not, and just have good support system that would be with you to help you get through this, and also work on yourself as well. And I promise you, you're going to look back and you're going to laugh at this like, what the hell was I thinking? I dealt with this chump. You know what I mean? So that's all I have to say about that, you guys. Thank you again so much for watching That's It. And I really appreciate each and one of you, again, taking the time to watch my video, to watch my content and comment and share. I really, really appreciate you. Without you, nothing is possible. And also without God as well. So again, thank you so much for watching, you guys, for watching That's It. And I will see you guys next time.